Yeah, I mean, I feel like I come up and say this a lot. Just proud of the bounce back of our team. I thought Saturday we put together maybe one of the best 40-minute performances of the season from our group, and I think it was particularly impressive after just a tough loss on Wednesday. I think what's been hard this season for us is we've had so much adversity and games that we haven't been able to win because of injuries or things like that. And then Wednesday, we just had a bad game. I don't have a better way to say it, but we just had a bad game. We didn't play well. And it's just unfortunate because we don't really have much of a window to have a bad game because of what this season has been. So, that was certainly unfortunate, but again, our kids just showed great toughness, resilience. I thought we prepared very well for North Texas, and I felt really good going into that game. The first quarter, we started a little bit slow defensively. We switched to our zone, and our kids were flying around and very disruptive, and obviously got us a big lead that we were able to hang on to. I think the brightest spot from the week was our bench play. Alicia Wade continues to step up for us and just bring energy. She's growing in her consistency in terms of really beginning to I'm feeling more confident on what I'm going to get from her game to game. And then another huge bright spot was Tracy Houston on Saturday. I mean, she's a player that we've kind of been waiting for, which again, some of the stuff has been out of her control. She's had some injury issues throughout the season, and because of that, just hasn't quite been in the game shape we need her to be in. And I think now, because she is healthy, knock on wood, and is getting more reps in practice, you're seeing that carry over to games. She's in better position defensively, so she's not fouling. Her production Saturday was huge for us, and if she can continue to do that, it's going to take a lot of pressure off of Maya and make us a much better team. I expect a tight game. There's not many times you go to their arena and not end up in a tight game. I mean, it's a great place to play. It's one of the best places to play in Conference USA. Their fans are very passionate, and so it's fun to play there. But we've had some really tough losses there, as you said. So our kids have been close. And then last year was kind of the first time we were able to just kind of power through and be able to get that win. And, I think it's going to be important for us to get there and start well. Again, their crowd is great. They're playing very well. We've beat them the last 3 times, and I'm sure they're aware of that. So I think particularly, again, being on the road for us, coming out strong and starting well is going to be very key. That's a great question. I coach 18 to 22-year-olds. I don't always know. But I think, and I've said this a lot, being transparent about our team, because of the youth and inexperience that we've had, when we go through difficult streaks, we allow our emotions to really take over rather than just trying to stay focused on how to fix it or how we should execute. And we've been talking to the team about that throughout the entire season. And so what I would like to think is that they're growing from that. And, the North Texas, the first quarter did not start off great, especially defensively. I really got on them with just our defensive urgency and execution. It wasn't good enough. And I thought when we came out in the second quarter, they flipped the switch. And so that's a credit to our kids, that's a credit to our leadership, and I hope it's a credit to our growth. Yeah, I mean, we definitely should not have a press conference without talking about Mimi. I think she's grown in so many ways, it's hard to pinpoint. But I think the biggest way that she's grown is just becoming, I don't know if I want to say confident or just sure of who she is and what her role is. I think there's been so many times, over her career here where she's gotten minutes and she's just kind of been searching, hasn't felt confident, wasn't sure what to bring us. And I think this season she's really just kind of come into her own and knows her role. Her job is to get out there and move without the ball and get shots up. Defensively, she's become very solid for us. And as a senior, I think on the court, like her leadership has grown tremendously as well. So I think all those things are really, the growth that has contributed to her making shots. You just don't show up and start making shots. Her maturity, her just being self-assured and who she is and what we need from her have all contributed to it.
Speaking of Davis, her and Wade are both guards coming off the bench. How is them bringing more of an impact each and every game, helping the team?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I mean, the big thing about Mimi is with the way that she's been shooting the ball, she's bringing attention away from Deja and J-Mac and Maya. Maya, after her first 3 games in conference play, was playing so well, she's got double teamed from here on out. Well, now Mimi's knocking down threes, which makes it a lot tougher to decide who you're going to leave, because you don't want to leave Deja, you don't want to leave J-Mac, and now you don't want to leave Mimi. So I think she has, just really helped us offensively, being able to open up the floor and, kind of have to spread out whoever our opponent's defenders and not just being able to key on 1 or 2. And I think, Leisha's starting to do that as well. I mean, she's really playing that role of that spark for us. I know when I put her in, often it's when I feel like we're kind of having a lull in our energy and we need somebody to change the energy, and she does it immediately when she goes in, and then if she picks up, open 3 and knocks down a couple shots, that's just icing on the cake. But her ability to change the energy of a game is what is so important right now.
What you were just talking about, how does that affect the spacing and kind of take some of that load off of Jada and Deja's?
It's huge for our spacing. I mean, with the way that Deja in particular started this season, and even J-Mac, she game to game, her stats are different because she does whatever our team needs her to do. But opponents know when J-Mac gets to the paint, we're a lot better of a team. And so, when either of those two are driving, they're just pulling double teams. People are helping off. People are reaching in on them. And now that, Mimi's knocking down shots and also JC as well, it's a lot harder to bring help off of them. And those two, Deja and J-Mac, are doing a great job going off 2 feet, finding them, and they're knocking those shots down. So, if you look at our offense and you look at our offensive production and shooting percentage, you can see it trending up. And a big part of that has to do with Mimi and JC. No doubt. I mean, for us, we know what we struggle with, which is rebounding and turning the ball over. It's been all year for us, and the games where we take care of those 2 things, we usually win, and the games that we don't, we lose. And our kids know it, we know it, and so for us, those have continued to be just focal points in practice. I have a manager now in practice that tracks every offensive rebound we give up and every turnover we have throughout practice, just so we can have numbers. It's just trying to find different ways to bring it into our kids' awareness so they know in this particular drill, we had 5 turnovers, and that's not good enough. And, maybe this player had 3 of those 5, just to constantly bring it into their awareness, because we really feel as a coaching staff that it's the controllable things for us. Like I mentioned, turnovers, rebounds, fouling. We're fouling too much and giving people free points. We're executing well for the most part defensively. Our offense has improved tremendously. We feel confident in those things. It's controllable things for us that we have to just lock down on in these last 3 weeks.
The team this season's found a lot more success at home than away, with 4 of the next 6 games coming on the road. How are you guys trying to reflect your success at home on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I think I try not to talk about it that much because I don't want it to be something our team is thinking about. But, throughout my time coaching 12 years as a head coach, I've always found that our younger, more experienced teams aren't as good on the road. because it just takes something extra to go and win on the road. And I think sometimes it's hard for younger players to understand, how tough it is and how hard it is. Now, again, with that being said, I mean, we're making progress. We played really well at Florida Atlantic. FIU, we played really well for 32 minutes, and then we just weren't able to have the composure to finish that game. And so my preference always is to focus on the positive, and in the fact that we've won 2 games, and we've been close on others. And, as our team has grown together in terms of their chemistry and their urgency and their execution, I feel good that we should be able to win some of these games down the stretch.
Picking up off of that, I know college athletes and college coaches as well have very strict routines. Do you have any superstitions or maybe looking at changing that routine for away games to kind of break that trend?
I wouldn't say we have necessarily superstitions, but we are very disciplined in, our routine on the road. It really doesn't change very much. And that's just what I believe in. I believe in consistency. I think consistency breeds consistency, and that results in, wins and great positive results. So, to answer your question, no, I don't have any really plans to change anything up. And, I think our kids are comfortable in what we do and how we do it. Our losses on the road aren't based on our routine. They're based on the other things that we've already talked about. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to believe it's senior day too. And we're doing a little early because this will be our last Saturday home game, and I always feel like that is a weekend game is the best time to have the best crowd and make sure families of our seniors can be there. So it's been kind of hard for me to get my mind wrapped around about it, or wrapped around it. But I think when I reflect on all the 4 seniors that we are honoring. They brought us a championship, and so they've left a legacy, regardless of how many points they scored, how many minutes they played, or what their role has been. It doesn't matter. Those 4 brought a championship to Charlotte women's basketball for the first time in a long time, and they can walk out of here knowing they left their mark, knowing they left a legacy. And, I'm really proud of them for that. In terms of their production on the court, they've all obviously been a little bit different, but each and every one of them have impacted our team off the court with who they are, their character, their leadership, their mentorship for our younger kids. All 4 of them, J-Mac, Michaela, Mimi, Cam, I feel comfortable going to and saying, hey, I need this from you, and they would do it because ultimately they care about the team and they care about Charlotte. And, those are the types of kids you want on your team.